So there's a lot to talk about in this chapter, but I want to talk about the long-term effects of domestic violence survivors and the difference between anger and domestic violence. So starting off with that, the book showed a study where they were measured testosterone and anger, and if that leads to domestic violence. And I'm sure a lot of us get angry several times a week, maybe every day, but that doesn't mean we go around hurting people and abusing people. But the study's results show that most people can control their anger, so I don't think that the sole cause of domestic violence has to do with anger. I'm sure there's a part of it, but I think the whole cause has something to do with the need to control. So the long-term effects for domestic violence survivors is very hard, and it's a very long road for most people, not all people. So a lot of people struggle to report any type of domestic violence. The book talked about two reasons: embarrassment, and people don't want to be seen and labeled as a victim, amongst other things. And there is a lot of struggles people have to go through: personal struggles, psychological struggles, and physical struggles. So the book listed some of the long-term effects for different types of abuse. So for sexual abuse, survivors might have to deal with lack of trust, powerlessness, depression, self-image issues, boundary issues, and risky sexual behavior. People that have survived physical abuse might have to deal with depression, low self-esteem, anger, relationship issues. So something that I didn't like about this chapter was the mention of the article, The Battered Children Syndrome by Kemp. Kemp believed that the abusers should receive sympathy as well as the survivors. He thinks that people with mental illness are more likely to be abusive, and I think that has to do with the association between violence and mental illness. But on other research shows that mentally ill or people with mental illness are not violent. It's more likely to have people who aren't mentally ill commit acts of violence to people with mental illness. So I didn't really like that. Just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean that you are going to be violent.